If you go out and you have a paranoid, or you think people are looking at you, or you don't like being in public, etc., just sit back, have a coffee, just chill and just watch people, okay? Because you'll realize that these people who you think are judging you are not at all, okay? They're too busy judging themselves, and they're too busy being worried about what the people are thinking of them. So a lot of the time it's just our mind imagining all these things based on our experiences in the past when we're children at school, etc. Because when you're at school, let's face it, children are nasty. Like, children do judge you at school because they're new to the world and they haven't yet got all that self-fear where they're worried about other people judging them, you see. So they're just learning about the world and they're more pure. And that's the first stage of awakening, by the way, when you're a child and you start to discover the world. And then it goes from that to learning all these conditioning, which then brings the fear. And then you've got to unlearn all that, which brings the internal manifestation, so you become a child again, but without the fear. That's when the true power comes, because you've now got the best of both worlds. You've got the world where you're a child and you enjoy being in the present moment, and you're following your joy, and you're doing all these exciting things, even if it's in your imagination or in reality, because your imagination creates reality. That's when you've got the best of both worlds, you see, which is the awakening. I'm not sure if it goes any further than that, guys, in this reality that we're in at the moment, but you never know, it might. If it does, and if I've been on this stage for quite a while, I'll certainly let you guys know. But for me, I think once you've got over all your fears in life and you've progressed through everything, you've done all the shadow work that they like to call it in the New Age communities, which is basically just going back to your past and realizing all your fears and why you have that fear, so that you can then transcend that fear by facing them. Then that's one of the major parts of the awakening as well. So to extend a little bit on your internal manifesting the external, I want to go into a little bit more depth in this, because it brings you into the world of make-believe, which is what the innocence of children have, okay? They have this innocence where they can just make believe. That's how they're able to sit down and play with toys, etc. And you'll remember when you were a child, you would get this toy for Christmas and you just love it. You'd be imagining everything happening with a toy. With me, it was like micro machines back in the 80s, and these little tiny cars that were just amazing to me. And I would have garages. I would pretend that I owned all the cars. I would be driving them around and playing cops and robbers, etc., which is make-believe, but this should not be limited to the child state, you see. This should not be limited to being new in the world, because this is all taken away from you by society, you see. So eventually you get to a point where you'll be able to use make-believe, but as an adult, you see. But not many people talk about this. If you were to Google like make-believe now for adults, or adults imagination, or things like that, you'll probably just get quite a few new age books about how to manifest money in your life by imagining things and the law of attraction, etc. But it actually goes beyond this, guys. I mean, what the real kingdom of heaven within is the imagination, where you can imagine anything wherever you are, to bring yourself into the state of being that you want to be. This goes quite complex, guys. Not many people understand this, and certainly no one's teaching it at the moment. But sometimes just your imagination and just make believe is enough to not need it to externally manifest, you see. But most people only use this method because they try to externally manifest something in the physical because they want it. But when they want it, they're putting out that vibration where they want something, so that wanting vibration is not going to bring it, you see. So this is where make-believe comes in, because make-believe, you actually feel like you've already got it. So if you want lots of money, you've got to use make-believe, where you really imagine you have the money. So you imagine yourself going out spending the money. But what people don't talk about is that when you actually imagine this, it becomes better than the reality, you see, because the physical reality is very limited. Okay, to get the money in the physical reality, you would have to do lots of things, give away lots of time, energy, etc. And it would take you a long time to get this money, even if you've manifested in the imagination first. So So what I'm saying here, guys, is that you don't necessarily need to do that, you see, because just the imagination of spending the money brings you that same joy, that same feeling as actually having the money in the physical dimension that we find ourselves in, you see. So you've already got to that kingdom of heaven without even trying to manifest to get it in the physical world, wasting all that time, energy and effort and money and resources, everything like that. Because there's quite a long buffer between your imagination and making it happen physically. But what I'm saying is you don't need to make it happen physically, you see, because you get to the points where your imagination, your make-believe is so good that that's enough. And that means you are God. That means you can create anything you want just with a thought, and you no longer require the physical manifestation of it, you see. So the ultimate goal in awakening to me is finding that method of using your knowledge from the physical world to imagine anything you want, to bring that state of being that you want, okay? This goes as simple as kind of, instead of drinking a cup of coffee, imagine drinking a cup of coffee, okay? And when you imagine it, it actually brings that same state in your mind as if you're drinking it. So then that can bring you out of a state down here to a state up here. You see what I mean? Imagine something you enjoy doing, okay? Like imagine being in nature, smelling all the flowers, totally immersed near the sea, just watching the waves, listening to the waves. If you can just imagine that on a bad day, okay, when you're going through like a hard time mentally, stop thinking, imagine that, okay? It'll take you from one state to another. So you can kind of bypass the physical reality by doing this. And the more you practice this, I believe, guys, this is what I'm working on at the moment. I don't know if it's possible fully yet, but based on my experience so far, it most likely will be possible. And that is to get rid of all worry, all negativity, everything in my mind, and create the state I want anytime I want, so that I can basically be living in basically the heaven within, whilst being in this physical dimension at the same time. So I'm in the physical world, but I'm not of it, but I'm using my experience in the physical world to create my own reality, which is heaven. So this is the level it gets to, guys. And as I learn with this, I'm going to make videos as well for you guys, my very small audience, by the way, which I'm happy about, okay, because most people are not ready for this stuff. It's a very, very, very small audience who actually take note and listen to my videos, and I thank you all for doing that, okay, because you're amazing. It gives me a reason to go out and learn this stuff and share it, because it makes us feel less alone, okay, because we're here to share things and teach each other, because the more people that learn things like this, the better reality will become, you see, because we'll learn more together and be able to use these techniques to improve our lives or our spirit, so that we can take this with us when we go into the next dimensions, whatever it is, okay? So yeah, so what do you think, guys? Please leave your comments, like, subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, see you guys in the next video. Have a nice day.